Welcome to the Doktor O'Kay Show. I am Doktor O'Kay, and this is Monday Night Raw from Glendale, Arizona, home of the Indoor Football League's Arizona Rattlers. Because the Coyotes just needed to get out of there and head to Utah. But anyways, let's stick to wrestling, where we just keep saying ding dong hello as our main headline. But first, let's start off the top with our first match with Just Keep Messing with the Mask, as Chad Gable took advantage by grabbing and twisting Rey Mysterio's mask to blind him and allow the Creeds to pick up the win. So American Made is the ones, as Julius really took the spotlight here, showing some incredible athleticism, especially with a 450 splash, but it was Brutus who got the pin with the roll-up. So the Creeds all of a sudden are on a roll, winning 4 out of their last 5 traditional tags and go to 4-3 on the year. And that means the LWOs are the 2s, and ironically it was their own Tornado DDT that did them in this Tornado tag match, as Rey Mysterio's Tornado DDT caused Brutus to fall right on into the referee. That allowed Gable to mess with Rey's mask. So for the LWO, they have now dropped 2 straight and fall to 2-2 in all tag matches. And Chad Gable will pick up his 7th fight of the year, because apparently Tornado DDTs still have DQ possibilities, so that was not allowed in this case. And since this match and these other American Made versus LWO matches are just kind of going about without any real purpose of any sort, they're good enough in the ring, but I'm not sure where we're headed here, if anywhere. So this is getting a not okay. Up second, we just keep forcing the triple threat as Sheamus ran down the ramp and interfered, attacking Ludwig Kaiser to force the DQ, and then all 3 men in this match brawled all the way through a commercial break until Adam Pearce had had enough, and he finally decided to give all 3 of them a triple threat match at Survivor Series. And Ludwig Kaiser is the ones, as he countered a spear attempt with an enziguri that knocked Braun Breaker out of the ring. But of course, as he went for the running dropkick, he was attacked by Sheamus. But the good news is that this gets him a DQ victory, which is his first win since June 24th. And he is now 4-6-1 in one-on-one matches. And Braun Breaker is the 2s, as he nearly killed himself with an errant spear attempt into the corner of the announce table. He was able to continue, but Ludwig Kaiser was able to control most of the rest of the match. And we give him props for trying to fight through this one. But unfortunately for him, with this DQ loss that admittedly he didn't really deserve, he falls to 13-6 in one-on-one matches. Now we have to say, later in the night, the WWE put up a graphic showing the most wins in WWE this year. We have to say that we think WWE actually got their own graphic wrong for wins, as we have Braun Breaker with 13 wins on the main roster, 7 wins in NXT, and if we really want to count it, which we don't think it should count, we'll give him 1 win for a WWE speed contest. But that is only 21 wins, where they said the Breaker has 22. So I really want to see where WWE thinks he got that 22nd win. But back to the match, Sheamus is going to have to pick up his first fine of the year for forcing this DQ, but I'm sure that he thinks this is well worth it, as he will get yet another shot at the IC title at War Games. And because we love seeing Sheamus keep getting these shots that he deserves, and maybe eventually he'll break through, we're going to expect a really hard-hitting affair at Survivor Series. Okay for this one. In our third match, we just keep doing it dirty, as Dom prevents a title change by getting JD McDonough's foot on the bottom rope after a War Machine that directly led to McDonough rolling up Ivar to retain the title. And the Judgment Day is the ones, as they had some good teamwork to keep the War Raiders in the corner, but eventually they were overpowered. So with a little bit of Judgment Day shenanigans, they were able to get the win. making it just their second title defense since gaining the titles back in June. Not very impressive, so they will go to 4-3 in all tag matches for this particular duo. And the War Raiders are the twos, and even though they had a really nice pop-up power slam and a War Machine finisher, they just could not overcome those dirty tricks of the Judgment Day, so this is their first loss since returning, and they fall to 4-1 in all tag matches. But since if you have seen one Judgment Day match, you've seen them all, we have to give this a not okay. In our fourth match, we just keep wondering what on earth did we just see? Which is exactly what Wade Barrett said when the Alpha Academy pulled off an amazing upset over the New Day, as those two could just not stop arguing over who was supposed to start the match, and it immediately cost them because the Alpha Academy are the ones for the first time in 2024, with Otis very quickly landing a caterpillar on Kofi Kingston, and then Tozawa just as quickly with a diving senton off the top ropes right on to Xavier Woods to get this win. Incredible stuff here. We've been hoping for this win for a long time, so congratulations to the Alpha Academy. What dominance you showed here to defeat them in just about 1 minute. Good job, guys. Maybe you can keep this going from here. So congratulations, you are now 1-5 in traditional tags in your first win together in any sort of tag match. But the New Day are the twos. After saying they love each other right before going to the ring, well, they just fell right back into their pattern of arguing, which cost them in the ring right away, and then they continued it back up the ramp and backstage with Kofi Kingston saying that Woods is too reckless and is simply not good enough to be a singles champion, while Woods said that Kofi is too scared to take risks and that he was the reason that Kingston became the champion. So just maybe we have a glimmer of hope, because next week is finally the 10-year anniversary of the New Day. So if there's anything that can get these guys back on the same page, it's going to have to be that. But even at this point, we don't have a lot of faith. So we'll just have to wait and see, because now they are 1-5 in all tags since September and 4-6-1-1 in traditional tags. So because this is just unfortunately more of the same, yet again, double not okay. Which gets us back to our main event and main headline of just keep saying ding dong hello, because we actually got 5 matches on a 2-hour Monday Night Raw, so congratulations for that booking, Adam Pearce. We really appreciate that. But nonetheless, it was Bayley who interfered by yanking Nia's feet off of the middle rope and causing her head to hit an exposed turnbuckle, and then Bianca finished it off with a 450 splash to gain the advantage for her team at War Games. And Bianca is the one, as she showed some impressive power with a very nice overhead slam of Nia, and then also a sideways slam off of the middle rope, and then finally finishing it off, trying to be that honorary Street Profit with the 450 splash. This surprisingly stops a 4-match losing streak in singles competition, but we did just note on Friday that she had an 0-6 record in multi-person singles matches. So with this win, she's a little bit back on track and goes to 7-2 in one-on-one matches. So Nia is the twos, and she seemed to be in control after she hit a Samoan drop onto the top of the announce table and then threw Bianca into the steel steps. But when Nia loses, it's usually because she gloats a little bit too much. And that was the case here, because she did not see Bayley coming on down to yank out her legs, and it cost her with that 450 splash. She now all of a sudden has lost 3 of her last 4 one-on-one matches. Pretty surprising for the Queen and your women's WWE champion. So she falls to 13-6 in one-on-one matches. But this one was about Bayley's interference, so she is going to pick up her 4th fine of the year, but she gets Bianca's team the advantage in the War Games match, and yes, she was indeed added to the match as the mystery 5th member, taking Jade Cargill's place. And whoever would have imagined that we would be here with Bayley and Io Sky now on the same team for the 3rd straight Survivor Series War Games match after their incredible fallout in Damage Control at the beginning of the year, leading to their incredible feud culminating at WrestleMania. But since 1, this should be on SmackDown, and 2, this should be for the Women's WWE Championship, we have to give this a not okay. Beyond the mat for Raw, we will stay right there with the unfortunate announcement that Jade Cargill is out indefinitely, with Bianca saying that she'll be out for a while. So what is going to happen to those tag team titles while she's out? Of course, this gets a double not okay, and we wish Jade nothing but a speedy and full recovery. But we had more women's news, as apparently before the show started, Adam Pearce announced that there would be a Women's Intercontinental Championship, with the initial tournament for this title starting next week on Monday Night Raw. And this is ironically on a show where there were 5 matches, so more matches than usual, and there was only one women's match, and that one women's match was between 2 members of SmackDown, and one person interfered in that match who was also from SmackDown. So yeah, great timing there, WWE, with this announcement. As we've done many times now, we've chronicled the disparity in the rosters between the men and the women, so we will do it yet again today. As of now, there are 75 men on the roster that have had at least one match that are assigned to either Raw or SmackDown. And they now have 9 titles, if you really want to count the speed title. I do not want to count it, but for these purposes I will, since they keep bringing it up these days. So we'll say that that is 75 men for 9 titles. That is 1 championship per every 8 1/3 men on the roster. And for the women, there are 34 women that have had at least one match so far in 2024 that are assigned to either Raw or SmackDown. And I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to include Scarlett, who we will talk about here in just a moment, who has no matches so far this year, but the way things are going, I think she's going to have one here very soon. So we'll say there are 35 women between both Raw and SmackDown. And if you count the speed title, and now with the women's US title and the women's Intercontinental title, that gives us 7 title belts for the women. So that is 1 title for every 5 women on the roster. So it's going to be pretty darn hard to not have a championship if you are a woman on the roster here pretty soon. So yeah, this is getting a little out of whack now that we're adding both of these mid-card titles. Of course, we do think the women work awfully hard and we want to see more of them, so I hope this works out for the best, and we hope that this title leads to more women's matches. So whether that is the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken, I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. So again, theoretically, if WWE doesn't mess this up, this is gonna get an okay. So speaking of Scarlett, The Miz and the Final Testament met backstage, and all of the guys agreed to look for the Wyatt 6. Unfortunately, right after they left, Scarlett looked in the mirror and Abby the Witch appeared in the doorway. And then when we came back from commercial, the guys returned only to find Scarlett and a whole bunch of objects lying on the floor, with Scarlett saying that it was Nikki Cross who did this to her, and on the mirror there was a message: everyone has something to lose. So speaking of things to lose, Nikki will have to lose 1 week as she will pick up her 3rd suspension of the year. So while we don't like to see what happened to Scarlett here, this is still pretty intriguing, so let's get this moving, guys. But for now, okay. And while The Miz and the Final Testament were coming back from their excursion, they ran into Pete Dunne, who was asking to find R-Truth. So it was R-Truth who was hiding out from them and went into the Judgment Day's clubhouse. and he unfortunately got booted out by Finn Balor. So of course, R-Truth had to cancel their Thanksgiving dinner, and because nearly anything with R-Truth is pretty much amazing and poetry in action, that will of course get an okay. But it was actually Gunther who kicked off the show, and he was supposed to be interviewed by Jackie Redmond in the middle of the ring, but before he could say any words, Damian Priest came out and interrupted him, saying that Gunther has never had to deal with a problem like him. So Priest eventually let Gunther respond, but Gunther put the mic up to his mouth and then put it back down, turned to walk away, but then turned right back around and hit Priest with it over and over again, taking full advantage. But when he went to clear off the announce table, Priest was able to recover, threw Gunther into the ring post, and then delivered a razor's edge through the announce table. So we'll see if Gunther is able to deal with the problem that is Damian Priest. So for now, with this new dynamic at play, we'll get an okay. Kathy Kelly interviewed the OG Bloodline in the locker room, minus, of course, Roman Reigns, who would never dare to show up on more shows than he's required to show up on. So it was Sami Zayn who told Kathy that he was shocked that CM Punk was the one who came to the rescue to be their fifth man, and that Punk will speak to Reigns on SmackDown on Friday night. And it was Jey Uso who confirmed that he would be the man in the War Games Advantage match, taking on Jacob Fatu on Friday night. Then, in a pre-tape segment, Solo Sikoa gave credit to Roman Reigns for pulling one over on them and catching them off guard, though of course this was not actually done by Reigns and he had nothing to do with it. Nonetheless, Sikoa said that this was a good one, but it will be the only one that they get. So putting these two segments together, we'll give it an okay. In addition to the announcement of the triple threat match, the Raw announcers also announced that a United States Championship match was added to the card for Survivor Series War Games, and that it would be for the United States title, with LA Knight defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, of course, we do not appreciate Nakamura getting a match without having to do anything to earn that match, so of course, this one will get a not okay. But just a programming note there on top of that, they also announced that there would be a special start time for Survivor Series at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Theoretically, it's a good idea to have a women's IC title, and theoretically, it's a good idea to have 5 matches on Monday Night Raw, but it is not theoretical that it is a great idea for you to go and check out the SmackDown video where we gave all of our grades from Friday night's show. But if you don't do that, it is not theoretical at all that, just like this show, that would be double not okay.